Good morning, MPC. Good morning, Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo. MPC, question.
Pleasant good noon to all of you.
Question. Okay, Badet. Ay, ano, Virgil? Okay.
Sir, we'll get your reaction dun sa SWS survey saying at least 51% of Filipinos agree that the proposal they agree with the proposal of PIDEA to conduct mandatory drug testing for grades 4 and above.
51%?
51% of Filipinos apparently agree that they support the PIDEA's proposal for a mandatory drug testing to be conducted among grade 4 students and above.
I think that's a good idea because at least the parents will know whether or not their children are addicted or being used in the drug industry.
But currently kasi sir, the law only allows mandatory random drug testing for high school and tertiary students. So, kailangan po ng amendment dun sa RA 9165. So, with this survey result, will this push the palace to actually support na i-amend yung law to accommodate yung ganung change na gawing mandatory for grade 4 and above yung drug testing?
If there is a need for that, but I don't think there is a need for that because that is for the benefit of the family. I think all parents would welcome that. I will welcome it as a parent.
Thank you. Follow-up, Severina.
So what could be the basis? Although the families would welcome that, pero what would be the basis of conducting such a drug test among the children?
There is a drug menace in this country that will be the basis. Parents patriae doctrine is another.
Police
that the
power.
state is responsible for the safety of the citizens in a country.
Follow-up, Severina. Other issues? Still on drugs, ano? Ralph?
Sir, ano naman pong comment niyo po dun sa same survey po, sabi po dun na the satisfaction po ng Filipinos dun sa drug war ng administration remained very good po.
That is expected because at the inception, the president believes that the majority of the Filipinos, or if not overwhelming majority, supports his drive against drugs and criminality as well as corruption.
Thank you, sir.
Question, MPC. Nestor?
Good morning, sir.
Good
Sir,
morning.
President Duterte previously said that he was disappointed with the slow Yolanda rehabilitation. You mentioned in your statement yesterday, citing data from the National Housing Authority, that only around 100,000 out of the 200,000 permanent housing projects were completed. Hindi po ba masyadong mabagal ito, sir? And what is the marching order of the President to concerned government agencies?
Not necessarily. In my statement, I said that there are certain constraints, like you have to look for titled lands to build houses for them. You have to look at the place where the people may need certain services that are not there. So it takes a little time. But certainly the government is doing its best.
So when do we see these housing projects to be completed, sir? Because it's been 5 years since Yolanda devastated Visayas. Is the president or the government has a timeline for these housing projects to be completed?
It's ongoing. It's ongoing.
We don't have a timeline, sir. When do we expect this to be fully completed?
Hopefully within the year or 2 years. Depends on the situation, as I pointed out in my statement.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Nestor.
Hello,
Ms.
sir.
Jen?
Sir, NDF consultant Vic Ladlad has been arrested.
Yes.
Some groups have complained that this was an invalid, there was no arrest warrant and it violated the JASIG agreement.
I don't think so because first, the JASIG is operative only if there are pistons ongoing. But that has been terminated by the proclamation of the President on November 23, 2017. Secondly, the crime of rebellion is a continuing crime, and therefore no warrant of arrest is needed for that.
Follow up.
Sir, so other consultants covered by JASIG can be arrested by the government since there's no more peace talks?
Yes.
So sir, regarding dun sa question ni Ate Jen,
Yeah.
may update na ba regarding dun sa paghuli dun sa iba pang consultants na as a result of na cancellation ng peace talks, kailangan silang huliin ulit? May update na po ba dun?
No, there is only one update with respect to
Okay.
Ladlad.
Thank you. Badet?
Sir, on the Q3 GDP po, it slowed down to 6.1%, sir. So what is the palace reaction to this? And the Q3 GDP growth at 6.1% is said to be the slowest since Q2 2015 po, sir. So how does the palace take this po?
Well, as explained by the Department of Finance and our other economic managers, the situation is improving. The inflation rate has plateaued, and there is no other way but down. Given the fact that the government has undertaken measures to neutralize the inflation rate, like flooding our country with food supplies, rice, and others. And if you have noticed, prices have started to come down.
Sir, yung statement niyo po na there's no way to go but down, sa inflation po yun, sir?
Yes.
Okay. But sir, on the Q3 GDP po, although that we are still one of the fastest growing economies po, does the palace see this as, is the palace disappointed about the Q3 GDP growth po, sir, at 6.1% po? Or are we satisfied about it po?
Well, apparently the economic managers they have not made any statement regarding that. I'd rather let the economic managers make a statement on that aspect.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
MPC question. Christine?
Sir, back to Vic Ladlad issue. Will his arrest parang signal that the government now intends to arrest the other consultants?
I think that there has been an announcement by the president even last year about the arrest of these people, given the proclamation that the peace talks have ended.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like a matter of acting on that
Yes.
statement made made last year.
Yes, ma'am.
Tapos on the issue of the PIDEO proposal to what's this? The mandatory testing. Wala bang vina-violate na anything in the law by subjecting these children to mga drug testing?
Well, I don't think there is.
Like
As I said-
privacy or like
As
privacy?
I said, I don't think a parent will disagree or oppose that such an idea. As a parent, I will want it, because we will never know how our children in schools would be influenced or used by persons outside of the family.
So like yung sa Baguio, there's this school that parang there should be pregnancy testing for the students. Is this something na... So what do you think of this, sir?
I think the reason behind it is that from what I gather, the schools are alarmed that certain laboratory equipments might affect pregnant students. So it's more of a health care.
So it doesn't violate
Concern.
any law, sir?
I do not think so either. If it's precisely for your health, why should it be violated?
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Christine. Cedric, then after Cedric, Henry, and to be followed by Nestor.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you said that these supposed weather stations in the three contested territories, it needs verification pa. But Senate President Soto said that there was in fact he believes that there is coordination between China and the Philippines with regard to the construction of the supposed weather station, sir. Why do you think, sir, the two different statements, sir?
I do not know the basis of Senator Soto's statement, but I would defer to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. As far as I know, coming from him, he is validating that news story coming from abroad regarding this particular claim by the Chinese government on these weather stations.
So would you say, sir, that there is no truth to the to what the Senate President said, that there was coordination between the two countries?
Oh, I don't know about that. I have no personal knowledge. As I said, I do not know what is the basis of Senator Soto's statement. He may have some information that I do not know.
Sir, let me just get your reaction also. Senator Soto said that there were high level talks between China and the Philippines, where apparently China recognized, or high level top leaders of China said that it recognizes that some of the disputed areas are in fact belong to the Philippines, sir. Can I get your reaction on this?
Again, as I said, I will defer to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. It's his turf. He knows better than I do on that aspect. We will have to wait for an official statement coming from his department.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Cedric. Henry?
Good afternoon, Secretary. I understand the President will have a meeting later with the IPs.
Yes.
Indigenous
Months,
people. May we
yes.
get the agenda, sir? Anong pag-uusapan? If we may, please.
All I know is that they will be there this afternoon, and I'm going there too. It could be a courtesy call.
Wala naman pong
In the
immediate.
advisory, there is no mention of any purpose.
Any immediate or emergency concern regarding the problem of IPs that the President needs the attention on?
Well, there has been a continuing problem on the nomads, as we all know. Perhaps one of them could be taken during the courtesy call.
And also, on the meeting, nandun din ho yung mga miyembro ng security cluster, like the DND, AFP, PNP, and the DILG, right?
I'm not sure about that because, for instance, DLG Secretary Anyo was flown to Boracay already. And the DND chief is in Indonesia for an official meeting with his counterpart.
Yung problema sa NPA, sa mga lumad, isa ba ito sa pag-uusapan mamaya?
Perhaps it could be one of them. As I said, there is continuing problems with respect to them, so anything that concerns them should be appropriately and properly discussed during the meeting, especially if they raise it with the President.
Anong mabigat na problema ng mga lumads, IPs sa mga NPA nowadays at kailangan na ang Pangulo ang humarap sa kanila?
Well, for one, what I know is that the nomads are being dislocated, and the NPAs are taking advantage of the situation, trying to recruit them against the government. That is what I know.
Any directives from the President sa PNP, AFP, DND tungkol dito sa problema ng lumads with the NPA?
I'll have to check with the AV Chief of Staff as well as the PNP Chief on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Last three questions. Nestor, Rose, and Celerina.
Sir, just related to the question of Cedric, it was the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lu Kang who confirmed that there were weather stations in Spratlys, which was built by China. Is Malacañang concerned about this because maritime law experts have been saying that this could beef up the military capability of China when in fact ASEAN, including the Philippines, has made a commitment to have restraint in the disputed sea?
Until such time as we have validated the claim, I don't think we can make any response to that. We will wait for the official finding of the DFA.
Is the pronouncement of the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson not an enough validation that there are indeed weather stations in the disputed sea?
It is in our own interest to validate any claim, whether it's for or against this government or for or against their own government.
So what kind of validation is the government doing, sir?
We'll have to look whether it's true or not, and then we will make our move diplomatically.
Look in terms of, do we have the satellite capability, sir, or are we sending our Navy there to see if there are indeed weather stations?
That's for the DND to explore what kind of method they will undertake in order to validate such claim.
But once the government validate this, what will the Duterte administration do, sir? If indeed we have validated that there are indeed weather stations, what will the government do?
As I said earlier, we will file a diplomatic protest.
Last na lang, sir, related to that, since you had the cabinet meeting last Tuesday, and
Yes.
this is the last cabinet meeting before the visit of President Xi Jinping, did the President discuss any issues or concerns that the Philippines might raise during the visit of the Chinese President?
No, it was not part of the agenda.
So what, aside from drugs, what were the other agendas discussed during the cabinet meeting, sir?
Well, we talk about national security. We talk about the build, and other matters, but not that one.
Salamat, Nestor. Last two questions. Rose. Mike, please. Yun.
Wala si Ina, wala si Maricel. Wala yung mga... okay sila.
Secretary, on the provisional major telco player po,
Yes.
Senator Pangilinan is questioning why there is only one qualified bidder. And he said, bakit po si Dennis Uy? He's questioning the expertise of Dennis Uy sa telco industry, and dapat daw po ay maingat ang pamahalaan sa pakikipagkontrata sa Chinese firm dahil po merong possibility na magaya sa CTE NBN deal na may irregularities.
There are legal requirements for the entry of a third player. In the preliminary screening, that particular corporation of the person you mentioned, Dennis Uy, has passed it. From what I gather, the other bidders lack certain requirements. That is why that particular corporation won over them. But there is a provision that says those bidders who are not satisfied can appeal to the committee.
Rose, follow up.
So, yung government po mismo is vouching for the integrity and credibility of the qualified bidder, lone qualified bidder.
For as long as they follow the legal requirements, then the assumption is that they are qualified.
Doon po sa natitirang kasi 'di ba nagbigay ng ultimatum si President na November dapat meron
Yes.
ng third major telco player. So hindi ba na-sacrifice po yung integridad ng yung pong quality ng pagpili ng mga bidders?
Not really, because precisely there is a bidding process and all the bidders have to go through it. If one or two of them have not satisfied the requirements, necessarily one of them will have to win over them. And then again, as I said, there is still a remedy for them. They can appeal and point out why they should be the ones chosen by the committee.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Ihahabol lang natin yung yung in connection doon sa sa topic doon sa telco. Cedric, telco sa'yo, telco. Kay Celerina, ano ba yung topic, yung question later? Sa telco muna, Cedric, pagkatapos one last kay Henry.
Sir, hingan ko lang kayo ng reaction, sir. Kasi may mga commentary from some sectors na apparently yung daw closeness ni businessman Dennis Uy kay Pangulong Duterte ay medyo suspicious daw kung bakit nakuha niya itong third telco slot. As I understand, sir, malaki po yung naging contribution or donation ni Mr. Dennis Uy during the campaign of then Mayor Mayor Duterte, sir?
I think it's a baseless, baseless assumption because given the character of this president, it's far-fetched. As we all know, relationship, alliances, friendship do not matter with this president. What matters to him is you follow the law and I'll be with you. You don't follow it and I'll be against you.
Okay. Henry. Sa telco telco. Bago tayo mag-last question kayo
Yeah,
sila.
telco. I was not able to hear yung tanong ni Cedric, pero yung expectation ng Pangulo sa serbisyo nitong telco ni Dennis Uy, or meron bang sinabi ang Pangulo kay Mr. Dennis Uy considering the fact na ayon sa mga report, magkaibigan naman sila, malapit silang magkaibigan. Anong sinabi ng Pangulo at kay Dennis Uy sa pag-aayos ng telco sa bansa?
One, I do not know about the malapit or closeness. I know both of them are from Davao, but I do not know whether they're close friends or not.
He is, I think, is a supporter of the president.
Well, it doesn't make you close to the president if you support the president. Number two, the president's policy is not to interfere with his departments, as well as the committees created by those departments. So the president has nothing to do with any of those bidding, any of those negotiations or contracts. That's the policy of the president, and it holds until the end of his term.
Yung pagpapabilis ng internet connections, wala po bang sinabi ang Pangulo na ayusin, pabilisin?
No, the general directive of the president during the tete-a-tete, as well as in his other pronouncements, is that we need a third player so that services will be efficient, there will be improvement, and it will benefit the users, the end users.
Thank you, Henry.
All right.
Last question from Celerina.
Sir, regarding this ordinance, the anti-profanity ordinance in Baguio, do you welcome that? Do you think that should be replicated in the country? Or do you think it's a violation of the freedom of expression?
I haven't, this is the first time I've heard of that. I have to see that, is that an ordinance? Or any ordinance in Baguio? Exactly what profane words are they prohibiting?
Sa school, yung mga pagmumura.
Oh, I will not oppose that kind of prohibition in school.
But outside the school, or do you think other LGUs should follow that?
But you know, profane words are uttered in a moment of anger. So all of us does it. I don't think, I have not heard of anyone not cursing when one is angry.
So do you think that's a violation of the freedom of expression?
I think even cursing is part of freedom of speech. For as long as you do not injure the person that is the subject of your curse.
So, kumbaga,
if it's just an expression, I don't think it is, or it should be prohibited.
so any ordinance like that there should be no ordinance na gano'n na parang nag-curtail ng freedom of expression.
Yeah, definitely. It may not pass the constitutional test when it is raised before the courts.
Okay. Thank you, MPC. Maraming salamat, Presidential
Thank you.
Spokesperson Salvador
Thank you.
Panelo. Back to main studios of PTV4 and Radyo Pilipinas.